Hello, Alia Jamal, the Heart Mentor, and we are meeting for our weekly workshop. And today's topic is I would say this is something if you have gone through um, trauma, if you have gone through some major life changes, I am 100% sure you have experienced it. And most of the women, they live with it, and that is emotional numbness. One of the things that I have heard the most, one sentence, I don't know how to feel. Can you show me how to feel? How do I sit with my emotions? So, if you have ever said or felt, or you feel numb, you feel lost, or you don't know what to do next, this would be the workshop for you. So, the title I gave it is Thawing the Heart, Healing Emotional Numbness from Inside Out. It really feels thawing. And the reason we are using the word heart, um, because this emotional numbness doesn't exist in your solar plexus. It is your back heart that is blocked. So in Unlocked Heart, the 10-week program that I have, we go so much deeper into the different layers of the heart and how to unblock them. But today we are just focusing on why you're not able to feel your emotions. Or maybe you can feel sadness, you can feel anger, but you don't know how to really feel joy or how to sustain joy in your body. Maybe you get a little bit of a high, but then, it dies down. Or sometime I have heard people say, well, I don't feel guilt, I feel shame. Guilt and shame, they come together. If you're not able to feel one side of it because you're numbed out of it, that's why. So today we are going to go a little deeper into what's going on, how we got here, and how we can come out of it. I'll be sharing with you some very easy to follow practices that I have personally used, that my clients use, and they work like magic. They're a little bit difficult to, um, I would say, stay with. They're very easy, but the reason they are difficult because when you've been disconnected with your inner world for such a long time, it's a little bit hard to get into. If at any point you have any question, anything you want to talk about, you are always welcome to reach out to me. I can guide you through anything. If you really want to learn to feel yourself again, to fully feel alive, you can reach out to me anytime. I can guide you with that process. Now, let's look at first, why do we go numb? So, if you want to look at the whole biological aspect of it or the nervous system, and if you do follow with polyvagal theory, there is a state where of our vagal nerve where we stay present, we are connected. Think of like, a family dinner. Not a family dinner where you're sitting in a corner or you're checked out, a family dinner where you're connected. You can feel other people. Then there's the stress mode where you're thinking of the exit strategy. You're not having fun and you're like, how do I get out of here? And then there's the freeze mode where you just check out. You're there, but you're not really there. That's called, I believe, dorsal vagal state of being. Um, but there's another way of looking at it. Let's say you're a car and you're in gear one, and that is when you're connected. And then you go to gear two, that is when you're thinking of running away. And gear three, you just freeze. You don't know what to do. And the problem is we get stuck there. I personally have been numb for the longest time. I don't believe, or at least I don't believe that I am fully thawed myself because I continue to work on my heart. And in the past 2 weeks, I have gone through one of the biggest expansion of the heart, because I did put myself through a little bit of a spiritual boot camp in the month of May. And I will be sharing with you what has happened, my friend. I have become I will say a mushy baby. It used to take so much to make me tear. That's why I'm really good at this work. I can hold space for my clients and they can cry and cry and cry. And it would take a lot for me to cry. Well, right now I can cry at anything. That shows my heart is open. It is safe to feel again. The other day, I even cried in public because something I saw, I felt so moved and so hurt, and I wanted to do something about it that I even cried in front of my son. I went through a whole craziness of almost 10 years um, in my marriage and very difficult 5 years. And my son maybe saw me crying 2 or 3 times in that time. But now I can cry in front of him. I can explain it to him. It is so beautiful when your heart finally starts to thaw and it starts to feel safe to open up. So I'll be sharing with you what I have done and what works. But let's dig into what causes it. So there are three root that causes the emotional numbness. And you can see as we talk through it, what is it within you that has caused the emotional numbness where you feel this disconnect, where you feel like you're not really connected within yourself. You might use the word broken. You don't really feel yourself. You feel like something is missing, but I'll show you what is actually going on within you. Before we go into it, I just want to share with you why we want to unnumb ourselves. Why do we want to thaw our frozen heart? When you are frozen inside and you can't really fully experience emotions, you feel dead, hollow, like a shell inside. You don't really feel alive. You don't feel the excitement of the day. You don't just jump out of bed and excited to meet life, what it has to offer. And that is what human experience is all about. So if you're feeling numb, you're not really getting to enjoy human experience. For me, that is very important. Now, it's up to you if that is important for you. If you are a parent, if you have kids, it is so important for you to thaw your heart so you can connect with your child. When my son was born and I was not able to connect with him, I was told it's because you had him through C-section, it's postpartum depression. My friend, I discovered it was a closed heart, which is the case for most women. The birthing process doesn't disconnect you from your own child, but a closed heart, it was so painful. Today, I tell you, he's 12. I feel him, and it feels so good to be able to feel your child. And only someone who has never experienced, like, who has experienced something that I experienced, you feel the joy and the blessing of being able to feel your own kid and not feel disconnected from them or matter of any other person. Like at this point, I can connect with even a stranger and I can feel them. And that feels so good. And that is the blessing I want to have for you too, that you can feel yourself so fully that you can also feel other people. You can feel your own kids and you stop feeling this numbness and this disconnect. So now let's go into it. So one of the three roots that we're going to talk about, you see which one is yours. I think for me, it was all three of them. The first one is when you go into freeze mode. It could be in childhood, um, because there was a one single event. It could be seeing your parents sick, a major thing happening. It could be prolonged emotional abuse, prolonged physical abuse. It could be one moment of sexual abuse. It could be any of that, or it could be a long period of time where it was too unsafe. And eventually your nervous system is like, this is so much, I'm just gonna turn off. Once it turns off, it never turns back on. It just stays there. That is just how our nervous system is created. When it goes for such a long time, it turns off and you're just stuck there. At some point, you just stop feeling. It's same thing if you are in an emotionally abusive relationship, physically abusive relationship, if you are with like any of the personality disorder. When your nervous system is when you're walking on eggshells for like 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. Eventually, your nervous system just goes offline and you stop feeling things. You exist, you function, but you don't really feel. You have a smile, but that smile is not moving through your whole body. That is just a movement on your face. There's so many people who, I would say there's so many women who live like that. And you don't have to. And the path back to you is very easy. It's very simple. Another one is a slow disconnect. So that is where you're disconnecting. It's not like one moment, it's a slow process. It's a prolonged giving. Again, pretty much every woman come in that category. It could be parenthood. You became a parent and now you're just so focused on doing, 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 doing that feeling becomes a luxury. You don't even have a moment to breathe. How are you going to sit there and feel your emotions? If you're a single parent household, then there's definitely no room to feel, right? You're so busy. If you're a caregiver, you're just busy, busy, busy doing things, doing things. So what happens slowly, the distance between your mind and your heart becomes so far apart that you can't even feel anymore. And that is when you just stay flat line. You're there, you get happy, you enjoy your meal, but you can't really experience the highs and the lows. You're just there. It's a monotone, but it the disconnect happens slowly over a prolonged period of time of continue giving. So what it might look like in an adult life, you say yes to everything. You're high achiever, or you associate with being a high achiever, or you are a multitasker, or you just like to go get stuff done. You call yourself a go-getter. Disconnect. That is where that is where you are, my friend. And it's okay. No shame, no guilt, no judgment. It is a very important we learn where I am and what can I do to get back to myself. And of course, before all that started, do you want to get back to yourself? I know I wanted to get back there because I couldn't feel my child, and that was painful for me. I could see other moms talking about how they enjoy their child and they feel their child, and I couldn't. And now I can. Even a hug or a kiss or holding his hand is so joyful. So imagine if you could do that when your kid is just born. When he was born, I was completely checked out and numb. I couldn't feel a thing about him. And the last one is my friend. Again, this is almost all of us have experienced that is unfelt grief. Grief is not just losing a loved one. Grief is betrayal. Grief could be loss of your home, loss of a job. It could be when you choose to abandon yourself, the love that you never received, that you desire to receive, letting go of parts of you because they didn't fit the picture, they didn't fit in whatever you had to live through. Um, it's a life you wanted to live and you gave up on your dreams, that grief. And the reason, like most of us, we can see, oh, yeah, I went through that trauma. That's why this is like, I am numb. Oh, yeah, I experienced that prolonged abuse or I gave too much. But grief is something, especially in today's day and age of instant gratification, there's no room to feel grief. There is such a culture of move on that there's no room to feel anything, especially if you're coming out of a breakup. And you're looking, your ex is already dating other people, and all your girlfriends are telling you, why don't you go out there and, um, find somebody, move on. That person was a X, Y, and Z to begin with. Why you're like, grieving that person. So there is an encouragement of moving on. One time I remember a very well-renowned coach slash therapist. definitely from a different generation than us, said that the best way to get rid of a man is get another man. And to me, that just did something within me that if a woman has not processed grieving of one man, the other man is going to not help her heal. Yes, of course, when we do find a healthy environment, it does help us heal, but that cannot be your solution if you haven't even felt your grief. You can't really open your heart to anyone. It doesn't feel safe to do that. So you're going to have a same disconnected relationship all over again. So just take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is it in my life I did not even give myself permission to grieve? It could even be moving to a different country. It could even and leaving all your friends and everything familiar behind. The reason most of us we don't create room to feel grief because we want to sugarcoat it with be grateful. Well, you lost your parents. Be grateful at least you had parents or they were here. Be grateful that you had a relationship, or be grateful this, be grateful that. Experiencing or feeling your grief doesn't mean you're not grateful. When we don't let ourselves feel those emotions, those incidents, they stay stuck in our energy field and they close your back heart. Whenever I want to check how bad this situation is, I check my client's back heart. And sometimes it feels so stuck that I feel like I'm trying to move my hand through a wall. When I am down, what I check first, I check my back heart, how blocked it is. And then I go into what is blocking it right now. What beliefs, what unmet needs, what unfelt emotion is sitting there blocking it. So just check in with yourself. Is it that there was something happened in your childhood that you went into a freeze mode? Is something that happened that disconnected you over time from your own inner world, from giving yourself permission to go inward and be with yourself? Or is it a grief that you never gave yourself permission to feel? When I was going through my divorce, it was one of the most difficult period of my life for sure. There was no place to feel the grief. I had to figure out how I'm going to earn money, how I'm going to support my kid, and how am I going to do all of that staying home. I had to figure that out very fast because as soon as I filed for divorce, the universe decided to remove my job as well. So when you have all that survival going on, there's no room for feeling. So what happened once things were a little bit calm? I became so depressed that I couldn't get out of bed. And when I asked my mentor, my mentor told me, you're supposed to feel. This is your body's allowing you to feel. So 3 months of feeling, and then things got better. And that is how my heart started to open that I could create new things. How long can you give yourself to feel? If you're saying, okay, Ali, I don't really like, I have a busy lifestyle, there's no room to feel, go on a date with yourself. It's one of the most difficult thing you would do because you're not going to take your cell phone, you're going to leave it in your car, and you're going into a cafe or in a park, and you're going to be there just with yourself. It is one of the most uncomfortable thing to do. But that is how you can start to create room for you to feel, for you to go back into your inner world, for you to start seeing what goes on within me. What is it that bothers me? And my friend, I can get into your head. I can read your thoughts. I can give you all that information. I can connect with your higher self. I can translate all that for you. That is not going to do anything for you unless you go in. I can even show you the way in. Unless you go in and you connect with yourself, where you can feel yourself, that is when the connection happens again. So, just to tell you what this thawing or healing numbness is not, and what it's not is forcing yourself to feel. And I have personally done that for myself and also for my child. And then I learned, okay, that doesn't work. When you think you can get anything done, you want to force yourself and make sure you feel. A nervous system that's already locked down, a heart that is already closed, it doesn't open when you hammer it. It requires patience and it requires your presence. And those are the most difficult and most expensive things you can give yourself. One is patience and the other one is presence. But that is what your locked in energy requires you to be with it. Being patient. That's why healing is not fast. If you feel like you healed overnight or after a month of working on yourself, my friend, that is not healing. That is you just telling yourself you healed. That's why my 101 container is a year long because it takes that long period of a time for us to move to self-loyalty, to heal your relationship with yourself. And that is just the beginning. Some people stay with me for 2, 3 years, and I have some ongoing people too, because it takes time for you to come back to yourself. It's not a quick fix. So remember, presence and patience. That is what heals emotional numbness. Now we are going to go through 4 things or 4 conditions that needs to exist for you to start healing. Number 1 is safety in your body. If right now you close your eyes and you try to go into your heart and into your stomach and you're like, I can't. I'm trying, but I can't. You're completely disconnected from your body. So the way you can start is you can just put your hand here and feel what's underneath your hand. Put your hand on your stomach, feel what's there. So it's the return to your body. When we have not been in our inner world, we completely move in here. So if you want to slowly start moving back into your heart, it's gradual and it's slow. And you're going to feel so frustrated in the beginning because you'll be like, why can't I do it? I have this, high achiever degree and a high achiever lifestyle. Why can't I do it? And it's so simple and it's so stupid. You're going to feel all that. My friend, it's a place that you left a long time ago. It's your own abandoned home. Coming back there is going to require what? Patience and presence. This is where my clients get most frustrated with themselves. But when you are patient and you're present, I would guarantee you the reward is going to be mind-blowing. Few things you can do to come back into your body. You can practice breathing exercises. If you feel good, you can practice breathing exercises. And what it does, it starts to open up the channels of energy and it becomes a little bit easier to descend into your body. You can practice yoga. With yoga, but I'm trusting you'll find an amazing instructor who teaches you to move your awareness in the part of the body that you're stretching along with your breath. If you're going to a yoga class and they are not doing that, my friend, go find another yoga teacher. Your awareness, for example, let's say if you're stretching your leg, you're stretching your thigh. If the instructor is not telling you to come into your thigh, feel your thigh and breathe into your thigh, if they are not saying those words, you're not getting the benefit of yoga. Yoga is all about union, it's about oneness of mind into your body. It is a process, gradual process for you to move into your body. Another thing you can practice, which I personally highly recommend, which doesn't require you to become a yogi or a fancy breath practitioner, that is body scanning. That is what I practice. That is what I teach. It's very easy. Again, in the beginning, you're going to feel very difficult, but over time, trust me, it becomes easier. If you do it for a week, every night before you go to bed, it becomes easy. How you're going to do it, you're just going to close your eyes. You're going to imagine that you are a tiny ball in the middle of your head. And now the tiny ball is going to move into your mouth, just be inside of your mouth. And now you're moving in the middle of your neck, just be there. I'm telling you the baby version of it. And you move into your chest, just look around. There would be lungs, there would be heart, there would be diaphragm, then move down into your stomach and just look around all the organs that are there. Then move into your hip area, move into your legs, move into your shin, move into your feet. And then slowly come back to your head. So what we just did, we moved your awareness out of your head into different parts of your body. When you do it every single day, you're you're connecting with the awareness of the organ. Every organ is a being of its own. Heart is such a powerful being of its own. That is my specialty. I work with it. It's a world of its own. That is how you connect with the endless world and you connect with your soul. So when you're moving your awareness is like a fire hose. There's so much water coming from it. Wherever you go, you're washing the gunk away. You're removing the old stuck energy of the incident or abandonment or betrayal. And the more you come into your body, you start to feel safe being inside of your body. If you're a person that is very, very busy, you're not in your body. When you start to be in your body, you naturally start to slow down because your body would be like, what are you doing to me? And you would actually listen. It's still talking, but we don't listen. So safety in the body is the first one. Your nervous system, your heart is not going to open up if you don't feel if you're not in your body. The next one is having a witness or being a witness. You can use it in any way. When someone witnesses you to go through your feeling, someone is holding space. Let's say you were a kid, you were crying, your mom told you this used to be a very famous situation growing up in the culture I grew up. Oh, you want to cry? Let me give you a reason to cry, and you'll get 5 more slaps. So it was not acceptable for you to feel whether you were crying because your toy broke or you somebody ate your candy, there was something you were crying for. So when your feelings were not validated, and now as an adult, you are learning to feel again. When you have a person present, and that could be a coach, that could be therapist, you can reach out to me. When a person is present, and you enter into that feeling, they guide you through it. And whether a release happened or not, but there's a person who's saying, yes, you can feel it, you're allowed to feel it. It heals that disconnect. Now, if that is not a luxury you have available to you in the moment, then be your own witness. Sit in your car, let that grief come to the surface and just be present with your grief. Don't check your phone. Don't start thinking about they did wrong to me. And I'm like, don't go into the pity party. Don't go anywhere. Stay in that space. The more you just witness without the story, and I do understand, my friend, it's a very difficult to witness our feelings, our pain without the story. I understand that, but you can build that habit. It does require effort on our part to thaw ourselves, to open our heart, to become a person who can feel again and not live or not move through life being numb. So be the witness of whatever you're experiencing. If you will do it with another person witnessing it, then it moves much faster. Because then something within you feels validated. Yes, it was right. And you just need it once and then it's done. And then that is a new neural pathway that just got created within you. What we are doing through this practice, we are rewiring your nervous system. Slowly, I can feel again in breadcrumbs, tiny, tiny pieces, not all together. The third one, usually we are looking for someone to give us permission to feel, to be, to grow, to expand, to become a different person. But when you get used to giving permission to yourself to feel, that that is when your world change. And permission is such a big thing. I just had a conversation with one of my clients who went into the freeze mode a little bit. And when we dug through what actually happened, they forgot to ask permission from themselves to a dream that they are, I would say, weaving. So what happened? Didn't ask permission. The nervous system went into freeze mode. Can't even move, can't even do anything. You might you might hear that and you'd be like, that is so stupid. How's that possible? But my friend, you experience that too. When you sit there doom scrolling, when you sit there binge watching for 8, 9 hours, why do you think you're doing that? Or when you just keep eating even after you have already had food, there's something that is numb within you and you can't feel. So we do these extreme things to feel something, but then we're not able to feel it. Somewhere, somehow, you did not ask yourself permission or you didn't give yourself permission. The very first book I published, I didn't ask myself permission that if that could go out in the public. And I was having the hardest time publishing it. And once that occurred to me in one of the meditation, I asked myself permission. My inner child was like, nope, not doing that. It's not safe. We had a communication. We got on the same page and things moved much faster. And the same thing I had to do with my second book, which is, by the way, in the process right now, because what I'm about to share, it is going to expose such a deeper parts of me and the root of my work or the core of my work. It does require deeper permission. It does require me being longer with myself. Hey, is it okay we do that? Otherwise, what's going to happen? Either I'll get sick, my nervous system would collapse, or the project just won't. You know, when we say like we are, the self-sabotage is showing up, self-sabotage shows up when you forgot to ask yourself permission. So we are talking about what it takes to heal the four condition that needs to be there. One is coming back to your body, being the witness, giving yourself permission, remembering to ask permission and giving yourself permission. And the last one is slow. Be as slow with you, as gradual with you as possible. And one thing I wanted to share with the safety in the body, it just came back to me. That means somebody needs to hear it. I did talk about the body scan. If that is too much for you, if you cannot start there, then start with the self massage. It's one of the highly recommended Ayurvedic technique that you massage your body, especially as women, because we hold emotions because we are the birthplace for humanity. We can give birth. We are the creative force. Like we can express it on a deeper level. So we do hold a lot of emotions and they are held in our body. So you can just massage your legs, your arms, like wherever you can reach out. If you can use some of the body oils, that's even better. So if you are in a habit of regularly massaging your body, you will start to feel so much. So that is a little bit more visceral, experiential than just, moving your awareness. Eventually, you'll get to a place where you can move your awareness or you can practice yoga with full presence where it can actually transform you. So coming back to the slowness. If you look at the ice, let's say there's a big block of ice and you just put fire on it. You want to melt it faster. What happens? The water goes all over the place. It can create chaos. You don't want to open yourself up or unnumb yourself right away. You want to do it in small potions. Think of like an iceberg. It's melting just on the side, just a little bit at a time. That is how you'll work on yourself when you're opening your heart. It's not going to happen in one shot. If something is happening overnight, it's not permanent. You're going to go back. That is you pushing yourself to move through it really fast. A rule of thumb is whatever is ready to be healed, it will reveal itself. So, whatever is coming right in your face right now, that is what's ready to be healed within you. If that is, I want to feel um, pain again, I want to finally heal from that incident that happened in my childhood, or I finally want to forget that moment that happened, it keeps coming back in my face, then that is the only thing you work on. Don't work on everything all at the same time. So if you look at your life and you're like, oh, everything needs an upgrade, that is not how you open your heart or letting go of the numbness within your body. That is not how the thawing is happening. Because your back heart, if you can see it, it's like a closed fist. And when I am moving my hand through it to feel the energy, it literally feels like I'm moving my hand through a wall. That is how tight that energy is. It's not one incident, it's decades of energy stuck in there. So you cannot just bring a fire hose and, like, just clean up the whole thing or one of those pressure washes. It requires your presence. It requires gentleness. It requires safety. So, my friend, remember that the path to healing your heart and starting to feel your emotions, it's a slow and a gentle one. Every time I find a place where I'm not able to feel, I just keep it in front of me and then I start asking for resources. Like, what is it that can help me? Send me the teacher, send me the book, send me the idea. I become open to the solution. And then it takes about 2 to 3 years for it to unfold. That is how much patience and presence it requires, my friend. So just to recap, today we learned the reason we stay numb because at some point we went into this place for safety or to feel temporary relief, and then we got stuck there and we forgot to come back home. And that is your heart, and you're stuck here. That is why you cannot feel, you feel disconnected. There are three roots that would have caused it. One, a single moment in your childhood or a prolonged one, disconnection over time. And the last one is unfelt grief. The key is presence and persistence. Be persistent, be present that this is something you want to work through. The four conditions that needs to be there in order for you to start thawing: feeling safe in your body, being the witness or having someone else be your witness. So this is where if you feel emotionally numb, I highly, highly recommend getting a mentor. Highly recommend. This is the best investment you'll make in yourself, in your life. It will completely transform the quality of your life. Completely. Seeking permission of yourself and yourself only, and then being very, very slow. Now, if this is something you're ready to go deeper into, you can go to my website, aliajmalcoaching.com, and you can book a consultation. If you have found it helpful, I would highly recommend please share it with other people because there's so many women, they don't even know how to start feeling again. They walk around thinking there's something wrong with them. No, my friend, there's nothing wrong with you. You just went to a spot you didn't know how to return back. because there was no one guiding you. You were too young to know how to return back. These are the skills that we are not taught. These are the skills we learn on our will because we want to live as a different version of ourselves. So, with that, we are coming to a conclusion. I'll see you next Thursday. I'm sending you so much love and bye.